Welcome everybody to a exciting video. Today we are going to do some patch notes. Patch notes are for mainly just for like kind of local Spokane players that know well, basically like everything that's in our cube and everything that we do in our cube or cubes. And for any of those players that have played Cube before, just to kind of like keep up with our thoughts and how we are doing things. So I'm going to go over both of the cubes that we have every 2-3 months. We like to kind of balance things and make sure everything's super in line with each other. There's more drastic changes to Stage 2 than there are to regular cube. But there will be a lot. I really need to change Stage 2 Cube even further. It's still not very balanced. But that's also just because we haven't played many Stage 2 Cube rounds. So we also kind of don't know what is good and what's bad. But anyways, without further ado, I'm going to first talk about Stage 2 Cube, then we're going to go into regular Cube, and in both orders we're going to go what's out, then what's in, what's out, and then what's in. So first we're going to start with Reuniculs and Alakazam. Both of these cards are now being removed, and they're also going to be put on the permaban list, which is a very short list, mind you. There's only 3 Pokemon that we have on the permaban list now. Alakazam and Reuniculs are joining Jumpluff from Dragon's Exalted, and there's 4 because Quick Search Pidgeot is also permabanned. So Quick Search Pidgeot, Jumpluff from Dragon's Exalted, and now Alakazam and Reuniculs are both banned. Now the reason these guys are both banned is because they're just too powerful with the high HP, and if your opponent can't do much damage or they can't one-shot you, there's a lot of ways to heal all of your Pokemon massively with stuff like Gardevoir, stuff like Nidoqueen, that sort of thing. But even if you don't have those 2 cards, doing what great is the Skyfield bounce combo, where you put Skyfield out, you put 2 or 3 Pokemon that have like 160, 170 HP down, move all your damage to them, and then remove your Skyfield from play, and those 3 Pokemon get discarded, healing all your damage. So the damage swap ability is just too good. It makes it so if you get one of these 2 cards, like, it's almost impossible for your opponent to win. It's very hard to shut it down. The one and only time that it actually did get shut down was when I was playing like Hex Spam, but like no one just techs. Like, you either are playing like Hex Spam, Ability Hate deck, or you just get reamed, and it's really hard to like tech the one of Supporter. And even if you do tech the one of Supporter, we are going to take like 1 prize, maybe, and then you're going to cry. So yeah, both of those are permabans now. Slaking and Pidgeot are both being removed because we found out that they were duplicate prints. Slaking got a duplicate print later that we have both of the Slakings in. We still really like this Slaking. If it's active, can't use Poke Powers. Very, very good. The attack's not great, but the Pokebody's nice. And then the Pidgeot got a reprint in the POP series. Beating Wings is nice to heal one of your Pokemon on your bench, or if it's like something that comes into play when you bench it, putting it back into your deck is awesome. Free Retreat's great too. I really enjoyed Pidgeot. Next couple ones, Leavanny, Aegislash, Blastoise, and Kingdra are all being removed for the same reason. If you look, they all have the same ability or Pokepower. Each Pokemon has no weakness, no weakness, no weakness, no weakness. These cards are underwhelming in terms of attacks, except for Blastoise, but I'll go over that in a second. But they're really only used for its ability, and so we had 5 Pokemon that had this ability. So I kept 1 in, which is a colorless Pokemon. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but I left the colorless one in so that it's more splashable, so that you're not necessarily just drafting, let's say, Aegislash because it's metal, or Kingdra because it's water. Even though this... Oh, excuse me, it's 4:13 in the morning, I'm really tired. Hi, even though, like, Hyper Whirlpool you can put in, and it's good in any deck. The whole active Pokemon thing, this, but whatever. This Blastoise is the only one that has actually good attack, and Rage Linear Attack could actually be used in some senses to, like, snipe for big amounts, but it's very situational, and fighting is already stupid good in Stage 2 Cube, so there's really no reason to play this. Other Pokemon that are getting removed, this Gardevoir, it's just not great. There's already a billion Pokemon that have energy moving things, so just moving one energy is kind of lackluster and not really that splashable. And plus, if you're playing any sort of max potion denial deck anyways, you're probably going to be drafting an energy transer in what types of energy trans? I know there's a grass energy trans, there's a dark energy trans. I think there's at least one or two other types. So this Gardevoir is just lackluster in that terms. Not very great attacks. So there's that. Tyranitar unfortunately is getting banned. Not banned, sorry, removed. Again, lackluster attacks. This is only to 70 because they're not evolved Pokemon, right? So only 70 for 3, and you're really playing it for Shockwave, but you have to recycle this Tyranitar over and over and over again to even get the benefit of Shockwave marker. And it's an EX, so just not great. It was fun, and we put it in because of Shockwave, but it needs to be taken out. It's just not as great. This Flygon, same reason, not that great. We thought a Merge Charge was going to be cool because when you would play it, you just get to attach 2 energies, but the attacks are bad, and it's an EX. And there's plenty of other Flygons where Flygon level X will be able to work, so there's really no reason to have this in here. It's just not great. Oh, once again, I apologize. But we thought like a Merge Charge, you could bench it, get 2 energies back, and then move them around, but bench space is always so tight with this. And this Kingdra is being removed, excuse me, because there is somewhat of a Delta synergy in places, but there is no such thing as Delta hate. It's just kind of hard, so not many people play the Delta engine anyways. It's in there because if you get all of the Delta engine, you can have some cool combos, but Delta hate's just nothing, so this is, yeah, no reason to play this. Moving on to other cards, Lake Boundary is being removed. Unlike regular Cube, where having a rainbow of attackers is a good thing, Lake Boundary in Stage 2 Cube is like every deck is Rainbow Attacker, so why would you play Lake Boundary? It just seems kind of silly. Ranger's getting removed. There's nothing that Ranger like truly, honestly, like stops. And Grady talked about it when we first put it in. He's like, "What does this actually do?" And I was like, "It might come in handy, but it just hasn't." Moving Great Ball. I forget why I'm moving Great Ball, but it's just lackluster. Search deck and put it straight on your bench. It's just like Search deck for a Pokemon, and we already have plenty of Dual Ball, Collector, Ultra Ball, so no reason. And then all 3 Palmer's contributions are being removed. They are getting replaced with Brock's. So yeah. Spoiler, they're getting replaced with Brock's. So anyways, cards that are coming in now. There's a lot of good Sun and Moon cards. Lot of good Sun and Moon cards. So we're putting in just tons into this and into regular Cube too. Dragonite's being put in. It's just another big bulky 160 dealing 130. This card's gonna be busted, but then again, everything in Stage 2 is busted, so this just kind of fits the bill of like really good cards to be put into Cube. So this is actually gonna be one of the better ones. 160 HP, weakness 2, type that only has 4 cards in the Cube, so very, very good. And especially combined with Vikavolt. Search a deck for a Grass and a Lightning, attach a new Pokemon whenever you like. So Vikavolt Dragonite is going to be an Archetype. Hopefully puts more stress on people drafting fairies or some sort of ability hate to stop this combo. I don't see this. I mean, you can use this, just Vikavolt as an attack too. 150 is gonna... Oh my gosh, I should have recorded this tonight. 150 is gonna be enough to one-shot almost anything in that format. This Crocodile was one I didn't really think of, I thought of, blah, 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 blah. But False Accusation could actually be somewhat of a really good attack. Hands get kind of clumpy in Stage 2 Cubes, because if you play a lot of Pokemon, your bench space gets really limited, and you're just going to have a whole bunch of cards in your hand. So False Accusation might be just like a really good attack, plus 150, plus Dark needs a little bit extra support, so Crocodile, we're trying it. It's not bad. There's definitely worse cards in the Cube. There's way worse cards in Stage 2 Cube that you could play, but Crocodile, good attacker. Crobat, triple poison for the triple poison is gonna be great for the status condition decks that are in Stage 2 Cube. There's actually it's prevalent, so that's good. And Surprise Strike with Dimension Valley is gonna be really good to do for 2 energies, do 120 damage if it's on your bench. And there's a lot of scoop up effects, so you can kind of recycle this Crobat. You know, retreat and then scoop that up. So yeah. There's another Poliwrath printed, so it can go into the Poliwrath Poliwhirl engine that's in there. There's like, what, 5 or 6 Poliwraths and a couple Politoads. And there's a whole engine that rotates around it, especially the Politoad that says all of your Poliwraths don't have to use their color stack. So Wake Up Slap is going to do 160 for 1 water energy if they're affected by a special condition, which is really easy to good. So Poliwrath becomes its own archetype. You can kind of see that that Sun and Moon brings its own archetypes into it, as well as just bringing good cards. Tyranitar is in here for the mill, hand control. Queenly Majesty is just stupid good. It's going to be really good in Stage 2 Cube. So there's not much more to say about this. Queenly Majesty, really, really busted. Let's see how many counts or anything. So then we're taking out some stuff. I'm adding more tools and supporters in. I want to start like cutting out the fat and adding more tools and supporters, because since it's a big basics format, you need more draw power. I think it needs to be like, when we started with Stage 2 Cube, it was 300 Pokemon, 300 trainers, and supporters, blah blah blah. I think it needs to be like 200 Pokemon, 400 trainers, items, tools, and stuff to make it like actually playable, to where you're not like, when you draft, you have just a big stack of Pokemon and you only play like 20 of them, and so you have to play like all of your items, and that's just not cool. And especially when you draft with like 8 to 10 people, it's just, it doesn't work. So this is an effort to put in more tools in stadiums. So 2 float stones are being put in, 1 extra Skyfield, because Skyfield is just the best stadium in this. I think this brings this total Skyfield count up to 6 now, and I think it needs to be one of the few 8 counts in the cube. Skyfield is just too good. So 1 more Skyfield, 3 Skull Grunts, because I think this is just a busted card. It's going to be fun for mill. It's going to be fun just in general to kind of combat the speed decks that are attaching from your hand. So Skull Grunt's great. 1 Kukui. I probably will eventually bump this up to a 2 or 3 count. Eventually, because there was no Brock, there was no Bucks training. There was only Kukui. So we're probably going to bump this up to a 2 or 3 count eventually once we trim some more fat. So definitely 1 card to look out for later. 2 Lily. This might get bumped up to 3 as well. There's no Bianca or anything like that, because we're like, oh, it's lackluster. However, Lily is a better Bianca. So 2 Lily for now. We'll see how she actually works well with, because like I said, there's a lot of clumping, so Bianca and Lily just aren't great, but turn 1 draw 8 might be busted. We'll see. And then 3 Brock Scrits to replace the 3 Palmer's Contribution. So there you go, that's Stage 2 Cube. Yeah. Sweet. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here, because that was ended up being way long. So check out Part 2 for the regular Cube patch notes.